Hey everyone, PushingUpRoses here, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of That Time on Murder, She Wrote. I'm choosing yet another episode from Season 5 to cover because, in my opinion, this is when the show peaked. Consistently good writing, acting, and the balance of hammy and suspenseful is much more equal. Today we're looking at Snow White, Blood Red. For some reason, Murder, She Wrote never could get a grasp on titles. It sounds like a cartoony caveman learning about colors. Snow White, Blood Red. Not only does this episode take place in a ski lodge surrounded by snowy mountains, giving it the extra cozy feeling of winter and fireplaces, it also has one of the highest death counts in the series, and honestly, it's one of the most gruesome. There is something about being snowed in that makes people homicidal, isn't there? It has a star-studded cast, not that you would know anybody by name, but most of the actors and actresses in this episode have had a career in TV or film, so you're bound to recognize a few of them. But the real reason I decided to cover this episode is solely because of this ridiculous scene. As we begin, we see Jessica Fletcher traipsing around in the snow. This time she's taking a much-earned vacation and learning how to ski. Watch out for the Yeti now. Also staying at the lodge is an Olympic men's ski team who are there for tryouts. Johnny, one of the members on the ski team, tells Jessica that the tryouts may not happen due to an incoming storm, then promptly ditches her to chat up wintertime Barbie. Trouble is brewing inside the lodge. Remember Perms? This is Anne and her husband Mike, owners of the Sable Mountain Lodge. They appear to be having marital problems as they've been in debt, and Anne has been having an affair with one of the ski team members, Gunnar Tillstrom, aka Little John from Robin Hood Men in Tights. Before we can move forward, the episode makes a point to focus on this insane-looking crossbow. Anne jokes that they use it on skiing beginners, which amuses Jess, but why exactly is it there? Who has a crossbow with the arrows just mounted right there for anyone to nab? Jess purchases a snow outfit for her nephew Grady, who is supposed to be meeting her there.
I haven't seen him for 3 months.
It's been the best 3 months of my life. Next, we meet Gunnar and his weird hair and one of his business partners, Pamela. She's upset because she got him a contract to promote her company's skiing equipment under the assumption that he would be competing. Alas, he is considering quitting.
Look, I'm pushing 30.
And we all know that once you turn 30, you die. I'm a ghost. Yeah, apparently he considers 30 too old to compete, which will screw over Pamela. He says he wants to settle down with a wealthy widow, and Pamela mentions hearing a rumor that he's been tangled up with a mob boss's wife. So not only is he pushing 30, but he's also pushing his luck. Gunnar gets into a quarrel with the team's coach, who interrupts him while he's working out.
What do you think you're doing?
Building up my deltoids, Papa Bear.
Oh my! This line is so ridiculous I don't even have a riff for it, but the next time someone sees me working out, I'm going to say, "It's arm day, Papa Bear," and not explain it. Pamela, feeling defeated by her conversation with Gunnar, tries to strike a deal with one of the other team members, Larry. Wow, this dance is depressing! And on top of that, there seems to be an ugly sweater competition going on. Larry's reminds me of toothpaste. I realize this lodge is in the snowy mountains and I'm sure it's freezing, but these outfits are abysmal. It's a battle of the Argyles. Larry says he'll consider Pamela's offer.
Let's sleep on it.
Ooh, get it, girl. Jessica joins the depressing dance party and meets two other people, a cop named Ed McMasters and his wife, Sylvia.
I guess this is where they put all the old fogies.
Around here, that's anybody over 30.
Once again, I'm over 30. Jessica joins them for dinner, and Jesus fuck, what are they eating? A plate of lettuce and the world's roundest bread roll? You could play baseball with that thing. They enjoy their crispy water leaves and talk shop.
What kind of work do you do, Jessica?
Murders and executions, mostly. For whatever reason, perhaps due to pressure from everyone wanting to see him compete, Gunnar decides to practice the slopes in a terrible snowstorm. In the most amazing scene ever created, he's shot down by someone using that ridiculous mounted crossbow. It's perfect! As is the screen behind him and this incredibly fake snow. I'm pretty sure someone just ripped up some plastic bags and put them on his face. Because the storm is so severe, everyone is trapped in the lodge with a murderer. This is one of the best ways to use the closed circle trope, because even with phones and vehicles at the ready, people still cannot leave their confines. Nobody is able to traverse the snow, and because of the snow, the roads are also closed. I also find it to be a truly scary setting for thrillers and mystery, with The Shining being a prime example. It's freezing outside, but there's a murderer inside. Because the cops seemingly left the lodge early, Anne and Mike ask Jessica for help with Gunnar's murder. Apparently they know of her reputation for solving mysteries in her hometown.
Yes, but what could I do?
What can't you do, Jess? What can't you do? Remember your mantra, WWJD. What would Jessica do? Yep, this guy is dead. Turns out Ed never made it down the mountain due to the storm, so now we have him, Jessica, and a gynecologist working on the case. I'd watch that buddy cop movie.
Dr. Lewis.
Oh, hi.
I am a gynecologist.
Well, that was forthright. I think everyone should introduce themselves this way. No reciprocated greeting, just aggressively stating your occupation.
I am a gynecologist.
Jess finds Gunner's hotel room key and decides to do some classic J.B. Fletcher snooping. She finds a lighter, belonging to Anne, then Mike abruptly enters the room hoping to find it. This guy looks like a weird version of Ryan Reynolds, and it's really distracting. Anne admitted to Mike that she had spent the night with Gunner, her infidelity becoming her alibi. Mike just wanted to retrieve it so no one would suspect her. Meanwhile, Johnny is doing his best Gordon Lightfoot while the team honors Gunner. Jess continues to interrogate people and keeps Ed up to date, even though he's been zero help on this case. I find that amusing because usually the cops want to take over and become annoyed with Jess's observations, but in this episode the detective is like, this is not my jam. You look around and tell me if you find anything. No one has been able to locate the murder weapon because it's been carefully placed behind these tires. Ah yes, this will be perfect for my bicycle. This is followed by a long and rather awkward shot of someone rolling an arrow around as the camera slowly and dramatically zooms in on it. Yep, it's an arrow. The tension between everyone becomes palpable. Larry gets irritated at Pamela, and the team's coach gets irritated at everyone because he sloshed. After a confrontation between him and Pamela, she goes to shower off after some cardio work. Brace yourselves, because this might be the goriest death I've seen in Murder, She Wrote. During that argument, someone slugged Larry, stripped him naked, hanged him by a rope attached to the shower head, and stabbed him to death. Talk about overkill! Anne also informs everyone that the phone lines are out, and they are now completely isolated from the outside world. The only calls they can make are internal. Despite things looking bleak, Jess says she saw a four-wheel drive with a CB radio in it outside, and suggests trying to use it to contact the sheriff. I love that Jess never gives up. She even observed that the car had a Massachusetts license plate so they can find out who it belongs to. She tries to get through, but unfortunately the station can't send anyone up because the roads are clogged. While she and Mike are having a brainstorm back at the lodge, Johnny stumbles on in with a stab wound on his arm. Jesus, the whole team is croaking. Luckily, his wound wasn't fatal, and they employ the comically nervous gynecologist to bandage him up.
I am a gynecologist.
Jessica runs over a few things with Ed, wondering if Johnny could have possibly stabbed himself with an arrow to create a diversion. Perhaps Johnny was killing off the team so he could have a better chance at the tryouts. Ed doesn't quite buy it, saying it's not a good enough reason for murder.
Yeah, that's a pretty flimsy motive for murder, Jessica.
Well, believe me, I've heard worse.
You should see the shit I put up with in Cabot Cove. She posits another possibility, saying that the only victim was meant to be Gunner, but since everyone was trapped in the lodge by the storm, the killer struck again to muddle things up. I've never understood this idea, but it's presented in so many murder mystery stories. For example, in the Dagger of Amon-Ra, only one murder is intended, but the murderer feels he needs to cover up his crime with another murder. Or maybe the killer was just having a bad day. According to this game, that's a very realistic motive. Jess receives a phone call in the middle of the night, and it's Sylvia, telling her that Ed went missing after he received an anonymous phone call. Jess, being the brave and physically fit woman that she is, confronts the storm of plastic bag bits to find him. When she does, he explains that he had gotten a call from someone telling him to meet him outside the ski shop. Suddenly, an arrow is fired at Jess. They duck for cover, then witness someone riding a snowmobile out of the barn. Ed takes a couple shots, and in a dramatic slow-motion scene, the driver tumbles over. It's the team's coach, presumably dead by the shots. Next to him is the weird bow and arrow. All of the suspicion is on the coach now, but Jess notices something odd about the bloodstains on Gunner's jacket. She asks for the gynecologist's help once again, and he removes two .38 caliber bullets from Gunner's body. This man is so traumatized by all the murder that he gives up skiing and claims he can't wait to get back to his job of examining vaginas.
I am a gynecologist.
Jess also notices some sleigh bells. Trust me, it's important. Now knowing who the killer is, she stops Ed and Sylvia on their way out the next morning. She tells them there's been a development, that the coach had been set up, and the real killer just wanted to cover up his previous crimes. Ed insists that he killed the coach when they were trying to escape, and that's true, he did shoot him. The bullet hole could be seen on his jacket, but the bloody bullet hole is what killed him. The 2 bullets extracted both came from Ed's gun.
When you shoot a man, he bleeds. When you shoot a corpse, he doesn't.
Hot damn, this is wild! So not only did Ed kill Gunnar and Larry in the most exaggerated ways possible, he also killed the coach, put him on a snowmobile, and staged this entire thing where he shoots a corpse to look like the good guy in front of Jessica. This is bonkers! I honestly didn't expect the story to conclude this way because there were so many characters with very transparent motives. Ed's motive had to be explained at the very end, which I know will be complete bullshit to those who like solving mysteries with actual evidence as the case is presented, but Murder, She Wrote tends to throw a few curveballs into the plot. Turns out Ed is a hitman. He didn't know any of the people he murdered, he did it for money. The mob boss I mentioned earlier knew Gunnar was sleeping with his wife, so he ordered a hit. Sylvia worked alongside Ed. She was the one who placed the call to Jessica from the barn. She hit the sleigh bells, which Jess heard during the call, before sending this poor dead man out on the snowmobile with the murder weapon in tow. Whew, that's a doozy. He tries to split, but the fuzz arrives just in time.
Jessica, the police are here.
Yes. Very good, Anne. Right, final thoughts. This was a fantastic episode. I initially chose it because I thought it was going to be goofy after seeing this clip in the introduction, but there wasn't anything goofy after that. I'm glad the clip drew me in because it was suspenseful, a little scary, well acted, and the scheme the murderer came up with was just insane. I adored it. Because there wasn't really a detective cramping Jess's style in this episode, she got more of a chance to shine, and nobody was ragging on her because she was the most qualified person to investigate this murder. Before being outed as a hitman, people thought Ed was an actual cop, and they still thought Jess would be the better choice for this case. That's amazing and hilarious. The part that stays in my mind the most was the shower scene. It was appropriately scary and gruesome, almost on the level of a horror movie. I've never seen so much blood presented in a Murder, She Wrote episode. When I saw it for the first time, I was genuinely unsettled. There's something disturbing about murder scenes that happen in the shower. I'm not saying it's all Psycho's fault, but yeah, it's all Psycho's fault. I have a soft spot for mysteries that happen in ski lodges, which I realize is very specific and not exactly a genre of its own, but I find them scary because a lodge is a place of comfort, of ugly sweaters, hot chocolate, singing and dancing, and when that is disrupted by a tragedy, all that coziness becomes tainted and skewed. So for me, this was a very successful episode that had more serious tones versus the lighthearted, cheesy ones, and I recommend giving it a watch. If nothing else, you get to see this ridiculous clip and hear the best line in any Murder, She Wrote episode ever.
Building up my deltoids, Papa Bear.
If you have an episode you are dying to see me cover, please leave a suggestion in the comments, and until then, happy sleuthing. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video on Snow White Blood Red. I hope you enjoyed it because I have a whole series of Murder, She Wrote videos. But first, Patreon, the website where you can give me money just because you like me. Do you like me? Do you like my show? Consider tossing a few bucks at me and get some rewards and stuff. If you're not sure if my content is for you and you need to see more in order to make an informed decision, then I have you covered. On the right is a video I did on R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour, and on the left I have the very first episode of Murder, She Wrote that I covered. Enjoy, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.